little story here from Ralph Wilson that I'd like to share with you. As a butterfly soared overhead, like this, one caterpillar said to the other, "You'll never get me up in one of those things." Yet, for every caterpillar, the time comes when the urge to eat and grow subsides, and he instinctively begins to form a chrysalis around himself. The chrysalis hardens, and you'd think for all the world that that caterpillar is no longer alive. But one spring morning, the life inside the chrysalis begins to writhe. The top cracks open, and the beautifully formed butterfly emerges. It emerges, and for hours it will stand stretching and drying its wings, moving them slowly up and down, up and down. And then, before you know it, the butterfly glides aloft, effortlessly riding through the currents of the air, alighting on flower after glowing, gorgeous flower, as if it were to show off its vivid colors on each blossom that it lands on. Somehow, the miracle of the butterfly never loses its fascination for us. Perhaps because a butterfly is a living parable of the promise of resurrection. I invite you to stand as you're able as we join together and sing, "Christ Lord is risen today." And minds be open to the receiving of Scripture today. Reading from John 20, starting with the first verse. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have laid him." Then Peter and the other disciple set out and went toward the tomb. The two were running together, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent down to look in and saw the linen wrapping lying there, but he did not go in. Then Simon Peter, following him, and went into the tomb. He saw the linen wrappings lying there, and the cloth that had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place by itself. Then the other disciple, who reached the tomb first, also went in. And he saw and believed, for as yet they did not understand the scripture, that he must rise from the dead. Then the disciples returned to their homes. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. 3 days. 3 days since I saw him last. 3 days since I last heard him speak. 3 days since he was laid in the tomb. 3 days in his final resting place. 3 days. 3 days was all Mary Magdalene could take. Have you ever lost someone you loved? The pain, the sorrow, the fear, the longing, it's hard to contain. The constant looking for them, reaching out for their hand, hearing their voice, even though you know they're not there. If you've been there, I know that I have, then we can relate to Mary, as 3 days was long enough. She had to be with him. She couldn't sit still any longer, lost in her own thoughts and emotions and fears, even if it was just to sit beside his grave. She had to be with him. One can only imagine what was going through her mind on her journey to the tomb. Maybe she was remembering when Jesus first came to her and healed her of 7 unclean spirits. Maybe she was remembering Jesus' teachings about the kingdom of God or how we are to love one another. Or maybe she remembered along the way that Jesus said he would rise again. But when she gets to the tomb, she sees something unexpected. So she runs. She runs to tell the other disciples what she has found. A tomb with a stone that has been rolled away. 2 disciples went running to see for themselves. And they found an empty tomb. They believed Jesus was gone, but not alive. They didn't even bother to ask a question or to really look for him. They just peeked in and returned home. But Mary Magdalene, stayed outside the tomb and wept. Hoping, praying, longing to see Jesus. She bends over and looks in the tomb for the first time and is greeted by angels. Now notice in this scripture there is no fear. Her only concern is, where is Jesus? Where is he? Isn't it amazing how we can go days and weeks and months and even years longing for someone who is gone? We can find ourselves in tombs of depression, fear, guilt, and hiding when our lives get turned upside down. This can even happen to us when we long for the way things used to be. We find ourselves in tombs of resentment, pride, and doubt of what the future's going to look like. We search for the answer, the way out. We look in empty tombs expecting to find life. If only we had enough money. If only we had more time. If only, if only. If only. Find ourselves looking for answers in all sorts of places like people, programs, bars, work, even family members. But we forget. We forget through our mourning that the only way to find new life is by searching for Jesus. The disciples came running to the tomb, but they didn't bother searching for Jesus. And so let us continue our scripture story. But Mary's, weeping, stood outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head, the other at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." You see, Mary came back to the tomb and wept. She mourned, but she looked. She inquired. She searched for the one whom she loves. John's gospel reminds us that even when we see a tomb and begin to weep because of the certainty of death, we can expect the grace of God and all of God's beauty to be revealed to us through the truth and amazement of Jesus Christ. This resurrection story gives us hope, does it not? It gives us hope. Hope that Jesus, having conquered death, can also conquer all our fear, pain, doubt, pride, depression, addictions, guilt, resentment. But we must make a choice. We have a choice to make, a choice to run to him, to sit at the tomb of whatever is sealed up and holding us back, to seek Christ and expect the stone to be rolled away. To expect what seems like death to be transformed into something new. To expect new in our lives. What if we looked at these tombs in different ways? What if we looked at tombs today as if they were cocoons instead? You see, when a caterpillar enters into this chrysalis stage of life, it wraps itself in its own skin. It enters what's called a chrysalid, but for today we're going to call them cocoons. So this cocoon protects what is happening on the inside from all that stuff outside. And we do something similar in life, don't we? We too build walls when we're hurt or uncertain about things in life. We build these walls to keep things out that may hurt us even more than we've already been hurt. But the caterpillar builds a cocoon for a different reason. In a time of its life where things are changing and are going to be different, the caterpillar expects transformation. The caterpillar expects beauty. The caterpillar expects new life. Where once it crawled on the ground, will now fly in the sky. What if we saw times in our lives like financial struggles or family crisis as a chrysalis period? A time where we can choose to search for Jesus and for the grace of God to transform our pain, sorrow, doubt, and uncertainty into something beautiful. By entering into these times of difficulty with the perception that we, by the grace of God, will come out with new life and be more beautiful than before, we can stretch out our wings and allow this new life to flow down through us. Just as this newly transformed butterfly stretches out its wings and flaps them up and down to allow the blood to circulate through its drying wings so that it may fly. May we too break through the walls that hold us in our tombs and allow the grace of God to fill us anew. So the last part of our scripture story today. When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there. But she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Did you hear that? Jesus said, "Mary." Jesus is saying your name too. Saying your name too. Are you listening? Do you hear? Jesus is saying your name too. He's calling us, asking us to recognize his voice and his face. He's calling your name today. Just as he called out Mary, he's calling your name. Jesus is calling us to awaken us from the blindness of living in these deep, dark, sealed up tombs that we've placed ourselves in. To show us that this is not the end. To remind us of his love for us. To help us believe there's something more beautiful ahead of us than we have ever imagined. How long will we remain in these cocoons before we realize the transformation that is about to happen will change everything, and it will be beautiful. Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling you too. He's saying to us today, the grave could not hold me, nor can this cocoon you've put around yourself. Break free. Come running to me. Seek my face, and I will make you new. So may we accept this resurrection of Jesus Christ for ourselves today. May we begin to live life anew today. May we move from our tombs and our cocoons and begin to live life